meant to shine a spotlight on best practices, to tell everyone else, look, this is an operation that works, that it is successful in its objective of saving time, money, of creating greater efficiencies, of complying with international practices, of making our port obviously more secure. Electronic transactions have the sort of advantage that once the manifest and once the documents are filled in one time, you don't need to refill them again. This takes away a lot of the opportunities for maybe cheating a little or adding or subtracting from different versions of the manifest that were used before, one for the agent, one for the line cruiser, one for the client, one for the port authority, one for customs, one for all the actors in the ecosystem of the port. So what we will see today from our awardees, because these are three of the winners of the 2022 AAPA SIP Award, and we will have today APM Terminals. APM Terminals won the category of technology and innovations by integrating technology and innovative processes into operations to boost efficiency, increasing competitiveness, and improving the quality of their services. And we'll have Leonardo Tello talk first about that. But we also have the Porto do Itaqui in Brazil, who is the winner of the Port Infrastructure Development category. And they were recognized for expanding physical and digital infrastructure with concrete and measurable economic impacts. And last but not least, we will have the Port of Santos. Now, Porto dos Santos, who was our host, our generous host last week in the AAPA, who is the winner of the Public-Private Partnerships Award. They were recognized for promoting public-private strategic alliances with stakeholders and different entities or sectors for sustainable and efficient port development. So these are the three the winners that we will have speaking with us and for us this afternoon. And in that sense, I am very grateful to our speakers. We have Arthur Tiago from Porto de Itaqui, and we have Roberto Pavek from the Porto dos Santos. So welcome all three of you. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your interest. I have just sort of quickly look at the attendees, and I can tell you already that we have, I counted at least 10 different countries that are represented here in the webinar. So I'm sure everybody is looking forward to your chat. And with that, and without further ado, please let me introduce to you our first panelist of this morning, Leonardo Tello del Pino from APM Terminals in Callao, who again, I repeat, was awarded the prize for technology and innovation. Juan Leonardo is the current project implementation manager at APM Terminals Callao in Peru. He is a civil and structural engineer, offshore engineering specialist in structural design, construction, supervising management of this projects, marine platforms, channel bridges, waterworks. He has experience as a specialist on energy projects as well, and has experience as a seismic risk investigator. So Leonardo has the sort of profile of an engineering person looking at this, and he is now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, doing us a favor, he is not in Callao, he's not in Peru at the moment, he is in Switzerland, in Geneva, Switzerland, doing some presentations over there. So Leonardo, before I give you the floor, I just want to thank Roberto and Arthur for their patience. We'll now disappear, leave you the floor, and come back at the end of your presentation. If you have trouble, can you share your screen now?
Yeah, I'll do it. Thanks.
Excellent. So you have the floor. Thank you very much, my friend. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. Hello, everybody. Excited to be here sharing some information about the projects we are developing in APM terminals, Callao, right? Greetings from Geneva. Actually, we are here asking for more money to our shareholders in order to invest in this kind of automation and digitalization projects for port management. So we have a tight agenda, and let's go to the point. Well, we'll see it's important you to know that all these projects are aligned to the APM terminals vision, right? The global vision. Then we'll see one by one the projects that have been implemented so far, right? And then we'll see a short conclusion, okay? So the vision that globally APM terminals have today is safer, better, and bigger, right? And all our projects are aligned to that. If your project is not aligned to your vision, so there is something wrong, I have to say. So you will see that in the safer part, we have implemented containers gate automation, right? Why? Because during the pandemics, we suffer a lot. In the first wave, the container gate automation was not implemented, right? And we suffer a lot. But then in the second wave, we conclude the implementation, and we could guarantee operations 24/7, 360 days. So then we have the silos dispatch automation. You will see that our people was exposed, by using the change for the dispatch. And now all that has been automated and our people is not exposed anymore. Pier 7, firefighting system automation, was another automation that we did in order to improve safety conditions during hydrocarbons operations. Then we have better, right, which means more efficient. And we have, of course, containers gate automation. You will see that we have improved our efficiency there, reducing the transaction time. Then in silos dispatch automation, we have increased a lot the efficiency, right? In Pier 7 as well. Then we have the digital twin that allowed us to prepare these kind of, let's say, scenarios in advance. And it's very helpful, for example, today to explain our shareholders what are the plans we have. And we can identify also the problems in advance. Then we have the RORO racks that allowed us to get more space in a very tight terminal. And finally, bigger, right? So containers gate automation not only help us to be safer, better, but also bigger, because reducing the transaction time, we are increasing capacity in the gates. And then we have the Pier 7, right, that allowed us to operate both sides of the pier at the same time, right, by having this firefighting system automation. And finally, RORO racks, because allowed us to storage the same amount of cars in less space, and we can save space for other cargo like brake pool, big bags, and all these general cargo. So then let's see the container gate automation, right? You're seeing a video, right, where the tracker is interacting with our system. There is no people on the kiosk right now, right? So the problem was transaction time at kiosks, need to increase capacity at the container gate, long waiting time at pre-gate in, paperwork waste, low security and reliability, and operations susceptible to lack of personnel, right? We saw that during the pandemic. What was the solution? So automate the kiosks. So by doing that, right, the results was we invested $1 million automating almost 11 gates, gate in and gate out. We did that in 12 months, right? And the gate capacity increased from 1.26 million TEUs annually, right, to 2.8. Imagine that Then the waiting time at brigade, is less, right? From 40, let's say 45 minutes to 18 minutes. And then we have improved also security levels. This is container gate automation. Then we pass to silos dispatch automation. So in the left hand, you have this guy, right? The chain maker. That this is the at that moment the way we operate at that time, right? So you can see we have some safety issues, right? We had some safety issues and we need to solve. So the problem was leaks due to human errors, right? Because the guy is not a machine, and sometimes when he get distracted, we had spills. Then high exposure of these dispatch operators, right? You can see that they are really close to the track, and there's no enough space, right? So we had also operations susceptible to lack of personnel, right? We suffered that during pandemics, and risk of loss of 50% of the storage capacity when first row of silos get closed. But this is related to another solution, right? So what was the solution? Automating the silos, right? And we did that reconditioning the 36 dispatch and the 28 transfer gates, right? To move the cargo from one silo to other. Then we automated the hatches, right? By installing pneumatic pistons and sensors. Why that? Because of the risk that we have in working with grains. Solutions instead of electrical ones. Then we installed the camera, the sensors, everything, and the results was, you can see here the video. Okay. You can see here that we have now control, and these guys are not exposed anymore, and we have traceability, we have improved efficiency, right? We also invest 800K. We implemented that in 9 months, and we reduced the spills, right? The risk of storage capacity. We improve safety operations. Of course, labor cost reduction. This is one of the most important, benefits of automation. Then we pass to the firefighting, Pier 7 firefighting automation, right? The problem was, you can see that in the left hand of your screen, right? This very old system. So we had highly risk operation because of obsolete installation, the operation with high demand of people at the platform, right? This is very risky. And then we had high potential environmental impact, right? And then we had reduced capacity because due to these conditions, we were not able to operate both 2 vessels at the same time. So what was the solution? Automating the firefighting system, right? And installing all the facilities and infrastructure to do so. So what were the results? So we invested $21 million, and we implemented it in 18 months. We improved the safety levels, we increased operational efficiency, and we have more capacity because now we can operate both sides of the pier at the same time, right? Supported by this automated system that is controlled, far, far away from the platform, in the control room, and our people is not exposed anymore. So you can see that in the video, right? The system operating automatically, and yeah, this is really, really good. So, but always aligned with, safer, better, and bigger. Okay. Then we have the digital twin. Okay. So this terminal, Callao, right? It has more than 100 years operating Imagine that, 100 years operated. So the problem was that we have legacy infrastructure that has undergone many modifications over the years, right? So the modifications has not been registered, recorded. We have hidden defects, and big terminal in operation, and it's very difficult to assess these issues while operating. So the solution was updating the registers, drawings, etc., right? And building this digital model of the infrastructure, including mechanical, civil, electrical, and the different facilities we have, right? You can see that in the video while I'm explaining, right? Sorry, is this one? Yeah, is this one. So you can see here in the middle, right, of your screen, this model, this digital model that now we're using in order to prevent the problems, the hiding issues in advance, right? So we invest doing that. The execution time to gather all the information, doing the LiDAR assessment and all that takes 12 months, right? And now decisions can be made in a quick and agile way. Design of possible scenarios to be evaluated in real time. And this is very useful for me in front of the shareholders. And we can avoid possible risk of interference during construction. So this is the way we convince our shareholders to invest on this digital twin, right? Then we have RORO racks. Yeah, the RORO racks. The problem was that the cars consume a lot of space, as you can see in the left hand, and we are a multi-purpose terminal, right? So if each car consumes 13 square meters, imagine when we receive 5,000, you know, in one or two calls. Imagine that. So you can see that in the screen, and then we are not able, right, to use this space for other type of cargo that is waiting, and the queues are getting better and longer and longer, right? So what was the solution? We installed 2 blocks of racks, right, for storing RORO at 4 levels height, right? So we are able to accommodate 1,000 positions, right, with this hydraulic lifting, and it allows us to put in less space more cars, and then with these savings we can utilize, you know, this space for another type of cargo, right? In the video we're seeing right hand, you can see our RORO racks implemented, right? First time a terminal in the world is implementing this solution, right? It's not common in terminals. It's very used in China. It's very used in crowded cities. But this is the first time a terminal, let's say a port, is using in their facilities. So we invested almost $6 million on that. We spent 12 months implemented it, right? And we have savings of, let's say, 6,000 square meters that can be used for another type of cargo like brake boot, right? The possibility to offer predictability to shipping lines due to the flexibility, right? And we can attract new transshipment cargo, right? All that. So the next step for these RORO racks is having an automated system to operate it. And with it, right, we can also increase efficiency, right? And in the future, we can, let's say, implement an intelligence, you know, artificial intelligence to operate in a better way these racks, including, let's say, that is the challenge for the years to come. So this is RORAC, and then we pass to the conclusion. I would say that the automation and digital help us to materialize the company's strategy and serve us as opening opportunities for developments that we are not yet aware of, right? I will explain that later. But we know that they have great potential to make us more safer, better, and bigger. It's important, keep that in mind. When I said the opportunities that today we don't know, I mean, when we gather data, then we can process this data and transform it into information. And then this information, can be transformed into decision, right? And that's the final objective. So making decisions made based on data, right? That's really important. So that's it, guys. Thanks for your attention, and have a nice day.
Pues muchísimas gracias, Leonardo. Thank you very much, Leonardo, for that presentation. Thank you very much. We can see how and why APM Terminals ended up winning the award, because you talked about several different elements or processes within the port that you automated, from the ROROs situation, to other type of infrastructure and processes. You finished up there with an excellent point, I thought, which was the more data you have and the better software you have to interpret the data gives you better information, which in turn, in theory, should enable you to make better decisions. No, in theory, I say, because sometimes that is not enough. But I congratulate you. I congratulate APM Terminals. I think all the audience is happy to see and to learn from the examples that you have mentioned. So thank you, querido amigo. I am now going to introduce our next speaker, Arthur Thiago Costa. And Arthur Thiago Costa is from the port of Itaqui. He has a master's degree in logistics and port management. So he knows what he's talking about a little bit, from the Polytechnic University of Valencia in Spain, and a graduate degree in project management from the Getúlio Vargas Foundation in Brazil, a degree in port management from the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JIC, and a bachelor's degree in accounting from Maranhão Federal University do Brazil. Since 2015, he's been working at EMAP, or the Port of Itaqui Authority, and currently holds the position of Director of Administration and Finance, the famous CFO, Chief Financial Officer. So, my dear Arthur, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your dedication to sharing what you guys have done. Let me remind everyone that the Port of Itaqui is the proud recipient of the award in port infrastructure development. So they have expanded, as you will see, their physical infrastructure, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the port. So without further ado, Arthur, please, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Roger, and my colleagues, panelists. It's a pleasure to be here and talk about Port of Itaqui. I'd like to thank you to APA organization of this webinar, and thank you for the invitation on behalf of our CEO, Mr. Ted Lago, and on behalf of our entire team here at Port of Itaqui. Once again, it's a pleasure to have the opportunity, George and colleagues, to present Port of Itaqui. I'm afraid everything is okay with the sharing of the presentation. So basically, the agenda today is to talk about Port of Itaqui, who we are, what we do, and our outcomes in the last 8 years. Later, explain our investments in the last 8 years and the forecast investments also to the next 4 years. Important to say that these investments were able for us to win the award of APA last year in Port of Santos. And the main theme of the webinar, Port Digitalization Actions, 3 or 4 slides about our experience here in Port of Itaqui in Port Digitalization. And finally, with great honor to talk about Porto do Futuro, Port of the Future program is the largest research, development, and innovation program in port sector here in Brazil. So I would like to end this presentation, explain a bit about this important program here for us, for Brazil, and especially for Maranhão State, where Port of Itaqui is located. For those who don't know Port of Itaqui, we are located in the northeast of Brazil, in a state called Maranhão. We have a strategic location near the main markets, such as Europe, North America, very close to the Mexico Bay, near to the main canals as well, like Panama Canal, Suez Canal. And I know most of the ports loves to show off their strategic location, but indeed, Port of Itaqui has a very nice one near to the main markets in Europe and North America as well. Port of Itaqui is the largest port complex in Brazil regarding volume, regarding cargo handling. To have an idea, last year in 2021, together with 2 private terminals, Vale and Alumar, Port of Itaqui complex handled more than 230 million tons of cargo. Port of Itaqui itself last year handled 31 million tons. We are a bulk port. We load and unload a lot of bulk like soybeans, corn, and we import liquid bulk. And we increased in 2021 25% compared to 2020. And 2 pandemic years, important to say, 2020 and 2021. But despite that, Port of Itaqui grew up more than 25% last year compared to 2020. And the forecast of this year is to end the year with more than 33 million tons of cargo handling here in Port of Itaqui, an increasement of something about 6% compared to 2020. And we have a very important hold to the agribusiness in Brazil. This blue area is our hinterlands, our area of influence. We serve as a gateway to all the agribusiness production of this area, or to production of soy and corn of Mato Grosso State, Pará State, Tocantins states, which are very famous production areas here in Brazil. So part of the production of these states comes out from Port of Itaqui to the main markets made in China. And we also serve as a hub for liquid bulk import. So all the diesel, gasoline, and jet fuel and LNG are distributed to this area through Port of Itaqui. This is our port infrastructure. We operate in 9 berths with a depth range from 12 meters to 90 meters deep. Berth 106, for example, is the deepest public berth in Brazil with 19 meters deep. It's a huge one. And like I said previously, we are a bulk port. We handle vegetal and mineral bulk and liquid bulk as well. So we have a dedicated berth to handle vegetal bulk like berth 103, 105, and 100, and specialized berths to import liquid bulk like berth 108, 106, and 104. Last year, we handled, in terms of grains, Port of Itaqui export more than 30 million tons of grains, basically soy, corn, and soybean meal. The forecast for this year is an increasement of 30% We have already done more than 70 million tons of grains export by the port in this year, and the forecast is to end 2022 with more than 80 million tons of grains export by the port, an increase of 30% compared to last year. Some of our certification awards, Port of Daqui is the only port in Brazil with 4 ISO certifications in management, in quality management, and environmental health and safety certificates as well. And we also received from Ministry of Infrastructure of Brazil the first place among the public ports in Brazil. This award we received in last June, and more recently, as George say, APA AAPA CIP award, which was given to us the award of port infrastructure development last week during the APA Latino hold in Santos. And about the event, the investments during the last 8 years, more than 2 billion reais were invested here in Port of Itaqui. Part of these investments came from private companies. 1.7 billion reais came from private sector, but 300 million Brazilian reais came from the public port authority. And the investments in dredging, a new firefighting system here in Port of Itaqui, the construction of new bulk terminals, new liquid bulk terminals, the expansion of the existing terminals as well, the expand of port infrastructure of infrastructure as a whole. And we have a forecast of 7 billion reais of investments for the next 4 years. Part of these investments came from the public port authority with 500 million reais of investments to the next years, and 6.5 billion reais came from the private companies. Investments again in new grains terminals, in new liquid bulk terminals, in dredging process as well. Also in LNG projects. It's a huge investments in LNG projects in Port of Itaqui. And I'd like to highlight the investments of a construction of berth 98. It's a huge construction. The berth that gonna expand our port infrastructure facility here in Port of Itaqui. And the bidding process of the construction of this berth is already in progress. But basically, the main theme of this webinar here is talk about port digitalization actions here in Port of Itaqui, and specifically on this theme, the topic of today's lecture. It's important to highlight where we are in 2015 and how we found this management of Port of Itaqui, the actual management here of Port of Itaqui, found the port in 2015. To have an idea, all the operation of the port was controlled and monitoring through this whiteboard. All the scheduling and the estimated time arriving, estimated time departures of the vessels was written with a pilot, with a pencil in this white berth. The berthing and the unberthing, the docking and undock of the berth was controlled also using this tool, if you can say so, in a highly manual way, And the communication between the port authority and the stakeholders like port operations, the maritime agents, the captain of the vessel, and the workforce of the port was done with with no digital radios. And all of this situation that we find Port of Itaqui made the internal and external communication very hard, of course, and you know the impact of this, a lot of reworks, low performance of the port, and low accuracy of information as well. And from 2015, we started a series of actions in terms of investment in IT, in information technology, acquisition of the best solutions in ports here to Port of Itaqui. In 2017, we built a new operational and control center, a proper place where our team could can now monitoring and control all the operation in real time. We have more than 200 cameras spread around the port facilities. And this, of course, made the work to control and to monitor the operation easier. We also automatize all the gate access here in Port of Itaqui. We have now the technology of OCR to read the plates of the trucks, containers, and vehicles as well. And we purchase a new terminal operation system. We call it TO Plus. Is for us, it's a revolution in terms of a perspective of terminal operation here in Port of Itaqui. The system helps us from the before of the vessel operational start to the post operation of the vessel start. So we can, for example, since the request to attract the vessel here in Port of Itaqui, the client can access the system through our website, input all the information, all the necessary documentation necessary to request the vessel to dock in Port of Itaqui. And of course, this information comes to our team. Our team starts to evaluate the information, and after that, puts the vessel into our lineup. And after that, when the operation starts, all of that can be controlled and monitoring through this system. After the operation, of course, all the information regarding is passed to our financial team, and the calculation, they figure out of port tariffs is generated in one click. And of course, all this process make our work, our job easier to calculate the tariffs, and of course to issue the invoice and send later to the clients. So a practical example of the benefits of the system. So before the system, each container ship, for example, generates more than 400 sheets. And after the implementation of the system, we have 100% of the operation in digital way. And of course, the benefits of that, it's more organization, more traceability of the operation, more efficiently. The performance of the operation is we can feel the more performance of the operation. Of course, the transparency of the process as well. And also another system that was it's a homemade development system. Our team here developed this process in a period of time, and basically we extract the data from TOS Plus, our terminal operator system, and through this data we can generate information and provide this information to our team to make decision. Basically, what's my colleague Leonardo finally his presentation previously. We need to have ways to produce data. You have to have ways to have this to treat this information, to be able to make better decisions. You know, Roger said, most of the time part of the time you can take better or not better decision, but most of the time you want to take better decisions to improve our port efficiency and to provide better service to our clients. So finally, regarding Port of the Futuro, I know I have 1 more minute to find the presentation, but in a briefly way, this is, like I said in the beginning, is the largest research, development, and innovation program in port sector in Brazil. This program was launched in February this year. More than 40 million reais to the next 4 years to support this program. So we talk about something about $7 million. Our goal is to achieve something about 600 research in the next 4 years in these areas, in operations, in environment, port-city relations, sustainable socioeconomic development, technological development, and public management. And basically the idea is to start to to put the thematic of ports into the universities here in Maranhão States. Like I said in the beginning, Port of Itaqui holds the largest port complex in Brazil, but the theme of ports are not, are not in day by day of the schools and of the university here in Maranhão State. So for those who are not of the port sector, thinks that port is only the port itself, the vessel, the cargo, and the load and the unload the cargo. But we know that the port field is huge. You can talk about port itself, you can talk about maritime, sea, roadways, railways, port economics, dredging, in port engineering, maritime law, port law. So the field of port, it's bigger than most of the people think. So with this program, we want to show the complexity of the port theme to research here in Maranhão States, to encourage people, to encourage research and students to research and to provide innovation solutions to the port problems, not only the public port authorities, but also to the terminals which appears here in Port of Itaqui as well. Basically, we have 6 initiatives. I will focus my speech on 2 of them. We have funding for research projects with scholarships, and also to purchase equipment to provide the research in some subjects. And we have also stimulating innovation. We want to stimulate with this program. We want to stimulate innovation, the innovation ecosystem here in Port of Itaqui, supporting startups which can provide some solutions to port sector in Brazil. I bring some results of this program so far. We have already approved 8 scholarships in master's and doctorate projects. Some subjects that have been under research, and also some projects that we have already approved. 18 projects already approved, more than 140 people directly involved in these research projects. So we have projects regarding decarbonization, climate change, port operation in different areas here in São Luís Bay, and also data privacy and everything. So if any of you guys have interest in know a little bit about these projects, if this project also can be, reply in our field of studies, just contact us. It will be a pleasure to share this information and also the researches with you. And also have another project that is the exchange program. So Port of Itaqui will afford, we want to send some young researchers and students abroad in some excellent sport areas, in Rotterdam, in Singapore, in Valencia, or even here in Brazil. All the costs will be supported by Port of Itaqui. So any of the ports in Caribbean, North America, South America want to receive some of these students, just contact us. It will be a pleasure also to sign some kind of memorandum of understanding to have these subjects in more details. Well, basically, this is the presentation. Once again, I'd like to thank you once again to APA to the opportunity. It was a pleasure to present Port of Itaqui, what we do, and I'm free to answer any question if you have. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Arthur, for that explanation of the Port of Itaqui. And obviously, congratulations. You guys are doing several things like the other ports. I'm going to ask Leonardo and Roberto to see if they can join us back for a quick question and answer session. But I encourage, first of all, I thank you for the kind of disposition that you showed with the rest of the audience. As you know, the audience is made up by several members of national port authorities, as well as individual ports in the audience. So I encourage you to reach out reach out to Arthur and the Port of Itaqui if interested, like he generously offered, and we'll be happy to facilitate that connection. Also, I'd like to call your attention to the chat in which Monica Blanco from the Secretariat has shared the link in which you will be able to find both the recording and the presentations of this webinar. So thank you very much. Leonardo, let me go to you with my first question, if it's okay. But I was looking at your terminal, I mean, at your presentation, and what would you say are the three main challenges of implementing a successful automation or digitalization project? I'm going to let me repeat it because I think I broke it up. What would you say are the three main challenges to successfully implement a digitalization project?
Yeah, I think I would say that it's really important to be aligned with your strategy, right? So this is the first point. If your project, if your automation project makes sense to the organization, makes sense to the strategy, it will be easy for the shareholders to approve it, right? So this is really important. And then I think we need to create engagement, right, in the high level, in the top management of the organization. That's another important point, because if not, the projects won't come alive. So that's another important thing. And then once you have this alignment and you have the resources to implement it, right, the main focus should be learning. These kind of projects are not, you know, like the normal ones, right? Like the implementing ones, like execution ones. Those projects you need to, I would say the main or the most important part of these projects is learning, more than executing. More than executing is learning. And then I would say the last point is you should be able to, let's say, invest in pilots, right? In pilots, because this kind of projects is not like, you know, it will it will be good to have everything automated and everything will move according to plan. No, it doesn't happen. It won't happen. So I will say you need to be able to, you know, make mistakes, learning from your mistakes, and do it again and again and again and again. Once you have that, you will be able to get data, and then you process the data, transform into information, and then decisions.
Right. Thank you very much. I think that point was also made by Roberto and by Arthur to a point where more information provides you with data to make better decisions. I would question how much is too much information. You know, there is a possibility of you to get overwhelmed by the amount of data that is thrown at you. I would agree. Thank you, Leonardo. I would agree with what you said as the challenges, but I will also caution our audience, and let me make you aware that we have national port authorities from the English-speaking Caribbean as well as from Latin America represented in the audience today. And I would tell them, yes, they're looking at it from a technical side. Indeed, you have to ownership, focus in line with the organization. You have to, but you have to add an element to that, I would say very humbly, and that is make sure you have the appropriate legislation to support your digitalization project. I know stories where they have gone again and developed a software and be ready to, you know, to be out there just to find out that they were missing legislation on the electronic signature, for instance, or on how to treat data, confidential data from stakeholders. So to those who are in the webinar, as you advance in the technological side, also please keep in mind the legal side, the regulation side, which is very, very important. And I would add the following. I would add that that you try, as you move forward, that you try to not purchase a solution from the market, but to develop your own technological digital software solution. You don't have to discover the wheel. There's very successful practices out there, but doing it from scratch and doing it your own, it always is, in my opinion, a better proposition. So now let me go to Roberto. Roberto, boa tarde, muito obrigado de volta para você. I'm going to ask you. You spoke about partnerships. The Port Authority, in
I
fact,
didn't spoke it.
yes.
Okay, George.
You just spoke about partnerships, and you and the port just won. What does the Port Authority, as a Port Authority, gain from these partnerships that you've mentioned?
First, George, I didn't present yet. Okay.
I think the question was for me, right?
No, okay, no.
Because Jorge
No,
said
question.
Roberto.
Yes. Well, I apologize. I apologize indeed. You spoke my confusion. My confusion. So the same question: what does the Port Authority gain from these partnerships?
For sure. So as I speak in the beginning, MAPI, which is the Port of Turkey Authority, is a public company, right? So besides the duty or the role to provide port infrastructure, we also believes and we also understand that the increase of port infrastructure, the development of port infrastructure, and the increase of, for example, the cargo handling of the port should be a reflect on the socio-economic data, socio-economic environments as well. As a public company, we understand we have this role as well. So, like I said in the beginning, Port of Itaqui is the largest port complex in Brazil, but people in the city do not see the port as an important infrastructure in terms of promoting socio-economic development. And these initiatives, the Port of Future program, this research, development, and innovation program, it's part of our port-city relation program as well. So we use the port infrastructure, but we give back the results to the society, providing and offering the opportunity to young professionals here in Port of Itaqui or in the community to have the opportunity to have a scholarship provided by the port, to research about the port. And of course, we want the results, we want the outcomes. We want these young professionals, these young researchers can be able to provide the better solutions to the port. Like you say, the perfect word is not to purchase the new softwares, but if you have the ability and the conditions to provide to our people to develop the better solutions, you want to do that. So correct. Basically, that's what we see what we're gonna gain in the future with this program.
Correct, Arthur. Thank you very much. In fact, you have touched upon a very important issue, which is the port-city relationship. I was just in the port of Santos, and given the size of the port, which is amazing, it's really a very large port. As you know, is one of the most important in Latin America in terms of containers and this and that. And I would ask then Roberto, what do you think, or does the city, in the port-city relationship, how does the city benefit from the implementation of the digitalization project or alliances in your case?
Okay. These startups that we made a lot of agreements, they are coming to our city. They are create opportunities, job opportunities here, and are changing the uh, business in our region here. And so, and when Port Authority enter in this sector and start to invest in innovation, uh, Port Authority changes a lot in our job market here.
Okay, thank you. So what you're saying is the port acts as a motor for economic development and for social development by providing
Yes, yes,
entrepreneurs with niches and opportunities for indirect and direct services to the port, right?
yeah,
Well, that, my friends, is how we here at the CIP conceive of the port as a motor for socioeconomic development that creates direct employment and indirect employment, whether it is in the transportation sector with trucks or drivers or railroads, or whether it is in the tourism sector with, again, transport and restaurateurs and tour operators, and of course the merchants of the city will also sell to those cruise passengers that come down. So the port itself, is a very important, a vital component in the local economy. So, Leonardo, let me start the finishing round by thanking you again and asking you why you think this type of projects are important to the development of the port sector of the region. And I talk about major infrastructure and investment projects like the ones that you mentioned.
Thanks again, Jorge, for this meeting. It was really nice learning from my colleagues in Brazil, right, and sharing this experience. So thanks again. Thanks to SIP that is doing a great job, connecting the people, and yeah, great. So on your question, I think the strategy that the company has today is, briefing the importance of this kind of project. So this kind of projects can help us to be, to have a safer operation, a better operation, that means efficient, and a bigger operation. So that's how I see, the importance of these projects. And then these kind of projects are, preparing us for the future. I did actually a degree on innovation in MIT, right? And the things that I saw there is that there are a lot of good applications of artificial intelligence, right? And I think the projects or the ports, will be the next in the line. So we need to be prepared for that. And the best way to be prepared for that is automating, digitizing all the assets. Once you do that, you will be able and you will be ready to take these new technologies that are coming very soon in the port industry. That's it.
Right.
So thanks again, everybody.
Oh, thank you. Skynet is real, my friend. And of course, I'm teasing with that. But no, as you move ahead, you make a very good point, which brings a little bit of controversy in the port city relationship. Because of course, the more that you automate, the less people you're going to need to do that job. You will need sort of trained individuals to manage that. But then here's where again the port city relationship comes in, and like you say, these major investment projects in the region spur development, spur growth from all the externalities associated to it. So Arthur, I'm going to ask you another question, and again, thank you, Leonardo, very, very much. Um, and when we talk about port operations, as you know, the need for international certifications comes clear. In the area of environment, we have the ISO 14001. In the area of security, we have ISO 4500. In the area of management, of course, the most popular one, we have ISO 9001. But the Port of Itaqui went a step further than that and sought a certification on information security, ISO 27001. So why did you take that extra step to make your clients and your stakeholders more secure? I presume.
It's a very nice question, Jose. And every time when I do this institutional presentation of Port of Itaqui, sometimes I have to explain why the need of this kind of certification in the port, because it's kind of certification more often when you see more often in banks, like in other kind of industry, but it's a consensus here that data is gold, is the new gold, right? Data is the new gold. And we're talking about the digitalization process. Digitalization, our actions were highly manual ones, and now we're transforming it to a digital one. So the system that we were providing, that we're building or purchasing or homemade development, these systems, and we are providing to our clients, becomes a critical factor of our business in Port of Itaqui. So you have experienced situations where huge, famous maritime companies, the data were hijacked in the last few years. Some ports here in Brazil also suffered with attacks, cybernet attacks, and this kind of situation put in risk all the business, the port business. So we understand that the certification in information security is critical to maintain our business in Port of Itaqui, and to provide better solution to protect our data, to protect our system that are constantly access with our clients. And in the end of the day, we want the systems 125% available to our clients, and of course, the port depends of this system. So that's the reason of a certification like that to the port.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Arthur. I guess it makes perfect sense, as you move into the digital era and the cyber world itself, you need to have protection there, just as you need to have it in with the ISPS code in terms of physical infrastructure and port security. We are moving towards there. Depends who you ask. I think that the IMO should update and revise the current code to incorporate at least some minimal cybersecurity standards that need to be met. We all understand that technology is a tool. Technology is not the end of itself. That's not where we want to go. We want to use the technology as a tool for something else. So thank you very much, Arthur, again for your participation, and congratulations all three. Roberto, one last question before we close. You spoke about the port spurring small businesses, entrepreneurs, and acting for sort of a motor development. What, in your opinion, has been the most successful of those in terms of Santos, for Santos Port, for the Santos Port Authority?
Well, here we do really cooperate with the startups that we made agreements, okay? So here, this cooperation with the startups made all the difference to the successful of our program of innovation. Sorry that you're mute.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Roberto. Well, thank you again for answering that. And now, my friend, I'm going to ask you to please take the time to share your screen and and go ahead and make that presentation that I, in my celerity and to assist order, have skipped. So I please accept my deepest apologies. But please,
Don't worry.
you have control of the screen. Thank you very much, Roberto.
No, don't worry. Well, um, first of all, I'd like to thank for this opportunity, Jorge and Monica. Thank you for this opportunity to present our public-private program of cooperation. But before I'm talk about this, I have to talk a little about our port. And the Port of Santos is the most important port here in Brazil. And it happens because we are located in the richest region of our country. And because of that, we are first in market share in some of the most important products of our trade balance, like cotton, coffee, sugar, beef, orange juice. And last year, we reached the milestone of almost 150 million tons of cargo handled. It was very important for us. And now, before talking about our public-private cooperations, I have to talk about our innovation program. Our innovation program, we have three objectives. And the first one is to encourage the creation of a port and logistic innovation ecosystem in the Port of Santos. The second one is to advance on digital transformation agenda. And the last one is to develop new solutions and business opportunities. And to fulfill these objectives, we have four main actions, four main initiatives. And the first one is partnership with educational institutions like universities. And now we have two partners signed with University of São Paulo, is the most important university of our country. And FATEC is a University of Technology, and both are to developing research in the port area. It's quite important for us. The second action is promote and support innovation events. The Port of Santos are really supporting hackathons, and this one called the Innova Ports. We hosted this event in August. It's the most important event about the port innovation in Brazil. We also have an innovation internship program that seek to help young people, students, to enter in the job market through innovation. It's quite significant for us because it really helps people to enter in the market. So it's very significant. And for our last action is to establish some partnerships with startups. And to talk about this last one, I have to talk about our regulation for innovation partnerships. Basically, is a regulation that seeks to reduce bureaucracy in the process of sharing information with companies that need develop or validate new technologies. And it is quite simple to make an agreement because of these regulations. Become very simple to make an agreement with us. Basically, a company, a startup, or even a person who has a good idea and for develop this idea, needing somehow from some information from the port authority, ask us, make a request of this information, and this request will be evaluated by an innovation committee. And it is okay, this idea, it's easy to share this information. Just a reminder, we do not evaluate the idea itself. We evaluated just the viability of to share that information or to provide an area to install a new equipment. We evaluate basically the viability, not the idea itself. And once its idea is okay, we send this request to our board of directors, and after the approval, we sign a cooperation agreement with this startup. And after that, the startup would will be able to develop their system, its system with this cooperation with us. And in the very beginning, we didn't expect just a rule would be able to attract startups to start to think about the challenges. But the fact is, there's so many technologies that need our help to become true, to become a reality in our sector, that a lot of startups started to come to us. Uh, and in less than 1 year, we've signed 4 agreements, and now we are talking with more 3 companies to sign more 3 agreements in a couple of weeks or a month, 2 months. And every single week, I have a meeting with a new startup. They want to some information for us. So in less than 1 year, we've signed 4 agreements. Our first partner is Israeli startup DocTech and the company Wilson Sons. And this cooperation aims to face one of the most complex challenge of port authority, that is the dredging process. The Port of Santos requires a lot of dredging to maintain its operations, because we are a channel with a lot of rivers, so we have this kind of thing here. And however, the visualization of the condition was done by own bathymetry. The problem with bathymetry is it's so expensive to do a bathymetry and portray on a snapshot of a moment. What else? It's not a dynamic process, it's a static process. So this partnership aims to create a digital twin of our channel with the cooperation with 3 partners. And to create this digital twin, a digital twin is a representation of the reality in a digital world. We use the data collected by tugboats, bathymetry information created by the Santos Port Authority, and these 2 information are gathered and processing in the DocTech system. And because of that, now we have digital twin of our channel. And now we can see in real time how the profundity of our channel. We can identify some pattern of silting, and we can anticipate the need of dredging, and most important, we increase security of navigation. For this partnership, we was awarded by the Port Industry Award of Excellence in the category Public-Private Partnership. We're very happy with this prize, and not because it was our first partner, but because this partnership show us how important is open innovation for the port development. But we also have other partners. We have a partnership signed with I4C. I4C is a Brazilian startup who seeks to improve weather forecast through mathematical models. We are a bulk port too. Of course, we handle containers too, but bulk is very important for us. We have a lot of commodities here, and weather conditions is very important for these operations. And after some while, we really have more accurate forecasts than we had in the past, and is really improving our operation decision makers. The second partner is with a startup called LogShare. The Port of Santos received about more than 2.5 million trucks per year, and almost 1 million of these trucks return empty to their origins. It increases the carbon emissions, is a waste of fuel. A lot of problems related with this waste of active. So this partnership aims to reduce this number, increase the backhaul operations, create a integration among our scheduling system with the DocTech system, with the log share system. And after 3 months, we started to hire these trucks to return full to their origins. And we made the go live in August, but in 3 months we start to do a lot of operations. In November we did 30 operations, and this number is still growing. It's quite important because it's a very severe impact in environments, because we have a reduction of food consumption. We have real social impact because these truck drivers could increase their incomes. So it's very important for us to reduce these empty trucks. It's very important for us. And the last one is a partnership with Naval Port. We receive about 5,000 ships per year, but however, this number is so important. We do not have tools to manage this traffic, this ship scheduling. So what the partnership does, create an intelligent managing for ship scheduling using AES stations, providing us situation awareness. It's very important because really optimize our ship scheduling process here in the Port of Santos. Now we have a tool to manage that, but without this partnership, we just use the email, okay? And my final considerations here in this process, every partnership that we've signed, we don't pay money for them. There's no transfer of financial resources because we are a public company. It's a very complex thing for us to buy things and to invest in innovation. So to be able to sign with us, we don't pay them. Okay. The second thing is the partner must provide some benefits to the port authority. For example, a free access to develop a platform. It's not a mandatory, but it's very important to have these benefits. And even with these two restrictions, these two things, the startups, they're still looking for us. They still want to make a partnership with us. And what is happened? It happened because it's not about exchange data, it's about cooperation. When you sign the agreement, we really help the startups to thrive in their own business. We really want to promote their brands. We really want to present them to other possible customers. So really help them, not just give the data. And that's maybe it's our little secret of our success in this public-private cooperation. And that's it. Thank you very much. If you want to have any further information, please send me an email. If you want to cooperate with the Port of Santos, please send me an email too. This is our website and social medias. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Roberto, for providing us for that excellent overview of not only the most important sort of data from the port in terms of commerce and trade, but also the true, they're true parceiros. There's no translation for that word, as you know, to be exact, in una parceria, no? But I see that is what you do, a true win-win collaborative relationship with those businesses that you partner with. The win for you is in obtaining the solution to a particular problem. The win for them is, even though you don't transfer money, you give them status, reputation. They are working for la Autoridad Portuaria de Santos. Entonces, that gives prestige. That tells the world that their product works. And so, because it's so hard for you to do those Otherwise, you had to become innovative about doing them. So that in itself, coming up with that new scheme is an innovation in itself. So thank you again, Roberto. I'm going to ask Arthur to please join us again. Leonardo, as you know, is in Switzerland, so he had to leave and sends his regards. And anyway, before we go, even though we're a little bit behind the original time, I would like to ask you guys one final question, if it's okay. And then when you answer, please take advantage of that opportunity to also wish your farewells and goodbye. Arthur, a question for you. Um, and I have some experiences this as well, but what do you say are the 2 or 3 most important challenges or obstacles in changing from a manual system to a digital one in terms of corporate behavior?
Well, we talk about people mainly. I think the main challenge is to change the culture, you know. So the worker will always think that what he did the best, what he did in the past is better. So I think when you change the process to a manual to a digital one, it's a change of culture, a change of mindsets. So I think invest in training and communicating that this will improve the work is essential, and also two words: training and communication. You know, always trying to explain to the worker that the changing of the day by day will be better. The company will gain in terms of efficiency, in terms of performance, and also the worker will feel the improve of its work. So basically, training and communication.
Training and communication are perfectly good challenges or obstacles that is successfully overcome will help you. But what you're talking about, I guess my take home is that the main challenge is the culture change in the people, in the corporation itself. And we are built to resist change, my friend. As you know, human beings and corporations are rather resistant to change. And so when you bring it in, there is the challenge to overcome that initial tendency to resist whichever change you're implementing. So thank you very much, Arthur. Some final words for the audience before we go, and to Roberto. Maybe you didn't hear me. I'm asking you to say your goodbyes, Arthur, to the public before we move on to Roberto. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you once again, Jorge and Monica, to the invitation. For me personally, it's an honor to have the opportunity to participate of this webinar. And also, once again, on behalf of our CEO, Mr. Ted Lago, and on behalf of our Port of Itaqui entire team, it was a pleasure to have this opportunity. And media active Porto do Itaqui on Instagram. And if you have any interest as well to cooperate with us, don't hesitate to contact me by email. I think you can also share the presentation if you wish later as well. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Arthur. In fact, answering some questions from the public, yes, the presentations, thank you so much, will be shared in the sipportal.org, sipportal.org, as well as the link for the recording of the webinar. So for those who are interested, and there you have the information of all the speakers, and of course the SIP secretary would be happy to facilitate any such contact. Roberto, we get back to you, my friend. Last but not least, like I said, I was in Santos last week for the Congress. I was very much impressed with the tour of the port. It is an amazing port, and the way you have organized it, it's very innovative. So in terms of the alliances that and the partnerships that you mentioned, we've already mentioned the importance of the startups and the importance of the port being a motor, a creator of jobs, direct and indirect. And so, what a final message that you would like to give us regarding the port and the partnerships and the importance of that for the port-city relationship?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank you, George, thank you, Monica, for this opportunity. It was a wonder for me to participate in this webinar too, as Arthur said. And as I told you, these partnerships for the relation with the city, port relation, it's quite important because as you yourself said, it's a motor. Okay, a port authority is a motor for the economy. And when we establish these partners, they come to our center, they come to our city. They have to rent a place to stay. They have to hire people, and they really, it happened with Logshare, for example. Logshare is a startup. It's based in São Paulo, and after our partnership, they moved to Santos. They built a new office and hired some people in our city, and it's a little beginning, but it's a very significant beginning of a new kind of economy, new kind of possibilities in our city. So we are so proud of that. And then this partnership among public and private has this power to change our reality, not just insisting, but in the reality of the people, creating new job opportunities, creating new a set of opportunities for our city.
Indeed. Well, thank you very much. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly in everything you've just said, and the power of that enables you to go both ways for the port, for the city. Again, we're always speaking about a win-win relationship between everybody involved. I congratulate you again, and thank you so much for hosting us last week. We have a question for the audience that I fear it could be the topic of a whole new webinar, which is what are the next challenges, how to raise funds to carry out the projects. So, Francisco, Arthur Gonçalves, muito obrigado pela pergunta, mas eu acredito que aguardamos. We're going to wait on that, but it is a very good question. In fact, the CIP could work, and well, now we're coming into December and we're closing up, but next year, certainly, it's not the first time people ask how to raise money for a project. So Francisco, we'll take your question into our hearts and do something next year. With that said, and going over the time allotted or planned for the event just by 7 minutes, I want to express my sincere thanks to Leonardo, to Arthur, and to Roberto for their participation, for their dedication, for their time, for sharing their knowledge. And I thank the audience. Again, we had, that I counted, we had at least 10 different nations participating here and getting the best practices and information. Remember, we are here to facilitate any communication. And again, Arthur and Roberto, and my thanks to Monica Blanco from the Secretariat, to, as always, doing an outstanding and superb job in setting this up. I thank everyone, and we will see you next year on the new series of webinars that we will have in 2023. Until then, my friends, happy holiday seasons. Be safe, be good, and we'll see you soon. Thank you very much.
En Real ID, somos un equipo apasionado y comprometido que mediante la tecnología del entretenimiento participa en el desarrollo social y profesional de nuestros clientes, ofreciendo un servicio integral que responda a los nuevos retos y logre presencia activa en el comercio internacional. Aseguramos a nuestros clientes el correcto balance entre requerimientos para que nuestras plataformas tengan un óptimo desempeño. Buscamos la solución precisa para la convivencia de sistemas heredados y, en su caso, desarrollar la aplicación necesaria. RealID creció acompañado y gracias a las necesidades del medio marítimo y portuario en cuestión de protección y seguridad. Cada uno de nuestros módulos está administrado por una inteligencia artificial simulada llamada Soleil, capaz de aprender casos y encontrar soluciones según los requerimientos del usuario final.